So it's 5:45 in the morning. It's the 10th of April 2022. Just got the sock up and I'm at Millbrook. The sun has not quite risen. I'm going to try and get up before the sun rises. Plan today is to go to Oxford. So I've not flown to Oxford from Millbrook before. Actually, I've never flown to Oxford before. So I'm going to fly to Oxford via Stowe and Stowe School, then down to Buckingham, down to Oxford and then back. So it's probably 85 miles. So it's probably going to be a 3-hour flight. So it's 6:10 and ready to go, pretty much. The sun is rising now. I don't think it's actually quite risen just yet. Today's the 10th of April 2022 and I just got my motor back from a major service. Had the bottom end bearings changed, the piston and rings, the top end bearings, the bronze exhaust bushing, all the exhaust wadding for the sound dampening, all the gaskets, carb membranes, the carburetor was cleaned, got a new priming bulb and a new prop and a new belt. So pretty much a new engine really. So I managed to take off about a minute before the sun actually rose. Just absolutely love this time of day. I think it's the best time of day to fly, especially if you're going to do a long flight because you get very low winds. It's quite still first thing in the morning, more so than at sunset. And if you can plan your route well, you can get a nice tailwind on the way back. So that's my kind of plan for this one. So the route takes me over Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes is quite an interesting place. In the 60s, the UK government decided that a generation of new towns in the southeast of England was needed to relieve housing congestion in London. And Milton Keynes was to be the biggest new town yet, with a target population of 250,000. And it's deliberately located equidistant from London, Birmingham, Leicester, Oxford and Cambridge, with the intention that it would be self-sustaining in its own right. And the street layout is like a grid pattern. So here we are flying over Stowe. Stowe School opened in 1923. Originally for boys only, the school is now co-ed with 550 boys and 300 girls. And they charge £38,000 a year for school fees. And it's considered one of the most prestigious schools in the world. It has its own golf course, 1,000 acres of land. It's got a top-end science and music facilities with a stunning stately palace. This here is RAF Finmere, which was a satellite to nearby RAF Bicester, and closed in summer of 1945, and part of the runway is still used by microlights. This is the main airfield during World War II, and RAF Bicester was interesting that a Bristol box kite landed here in 1911 on its way to Cambridge, and the fields there went on to become the flying field and later RAF Bicester. So now approaching Oxford. The city is home obviously to the University of Oxford, the oldest university in the English-speaking world. And there is evidence of teaching as early as 1096, and it grew rapidly in 1167 when Henry II banned English students from attending the University of Paris. After disputes between students and Oxford townsfolk in 1209, some of the academics fled northeast to Cambridge, where they established what became the University of Cambridge. So Oxford has the world's oldest university museum, as well as the largest university press in the world and the largest academic library. So I've not flown over Oxford before, and it's a real joy to be up just early morning. It was probably about 7:30 a.m. by the time I got to Oxford. And here's the River Thames, which flows through London. This here is RAF Westcott, which was opened in September 1942. and was the base of Number 11 Operational Training Unit, flying the Vickers Wellington medium bomber. And the RAF moved out in August of 1945. It's now the location of the Westcott Venture Park, which is just a business park for light industry. I do enjoy flying over these old airfields. There's loads of them in England. So nearly home now, flying over the M1, and as I go to idle, my engine dies. So at this point I'm getting into a landing configuration. I'm getting my hands on the brakes, making sure my trimmers are pulled in. All of my straps are tight, and I then come in for a landing. So luckily when I went to idle, it was over those pylons, and I had plenty of time to glide to where I wanted to land, basically. So here I am coming in for a landing. Now I did have a look into what happened there. Basically all that happened is the engine was running slightly too lean, so I just richened the carburettor up and did a test later on, and it seems fine now. So I've landed all the way to Oxford and back. It's a 3-hour flight. Got 2 litres left in the tank. It took 16 litres. Had a bit of an issue at the end actually. So it's coming in about 1,000 feet over those, see behind me those pylons over there. Went to idle and the engine just shut off. Haven't been at idle for the entire flight, just kept at pretty much constant revs. Still about 1,000 feet for the entire flight, but engine died. So have a look at that when I get home. But brilliant flight, really enjoyed that. Went to Stowe, Bicester, Oxford, and then straight back to Millbrook, so for 3 hours. Enjoyed that. Hit the like button. Thanks for watching.